Jacksonville doesn't give you the whole story at first glance. It's big, it's weirdly spread out, it's got beaches, bridges, a football team, and somehow it still all flies under the radar. But living here, that's where it gets interesting. Because Jacksonville's not just Florida's biggest city, it's a city of contradictions. Suburbs that feel like resorts, downtown blocks that still haven't caught up, one neighborhood's building luxury townhomes, while the next is lined with 1950s bungalows and dive bars that locals swear by. These days, the game has changed. The city's evolving faster than most folks even realize. New construction's heating up, some prices are climbing, some deals are hiding in plain sight, and depending on where you land, you could either fall in love with your lifestyle or get hit with some costly surprises. This isn't a listicle. It's the stuff you only hear from someone who actually lives here, works here, and helps people relocate here every single day. If Jacksonville, Florida is on your radar, this video is going to give you more than a surface level tour. It's going to help you figure out where, if anywhere, this city actually fits your life. Helping people relocate to Jacksonville isn't just our job, it's what we do, week in and week out. And even after working with so many families, professionals, and retirees making this exact decision, one thing's become obvious. Most people focus way too hard on the market and not nearly enough on the lifestyle. Because long after the paperwork's signed, it's the daily feel that either makes or breaks the move. When your mornings look like, what kind of people you're around, and whether your new neighborhood actually matches where you want to live. That's the stuff no map or Zillow listing is going to show you. So before we get into price points and property lines, we're going to start where it really counts, how Jacksonville feels on the ground. Because that's what tells you if this city fits or if you're about to make a move that doesn't. Jacksonville's one of those places that doesn't give you its vibe all at once. It unfolds. Depending on where you are, who you're with, and what you're into. You might start your day with a coffee run near the dunes on Neptune Beach, swing through San Marco for brunch under the mossy oaks, then end up at an impromptu jazz set in Riverside backyard with twinkle lights strung between the palm trees. It's breezy, creative, and just gritty enough to feel real. The culture here? It's not Miami Flash or Orlando polish. It's beach town casual, layered with southern roots, military grip, and a growing arts and tech pulse that's pulling in more young talent by the month. You've got legacy families grilling in the same yard for 30 years, right next to remote workers who just moved in and now live 2 blocks from the best coffee shop they've ever found. And lifestyle-wise, you've got people living in a beautiful brick homes with large yards in Mandarin, while over in the South Bank, it's rooftop cocktails, Tesla chargers, and skyline views that make you feel like you're in a whole different city altogether. Families biking the Riverwalk, college kids paddleboarding before class, retirees hitting yoga under the oaks at Memorial Park. It's all happening, just not always in the places you'd expect. Quick story. I worked with a couple from Boston last year. They thought they were dead set on the beach. Figured ocean air, salt life, and the whole thing. But after one weekend exploring Avondale, hopping into the little wine bars and checking out the arts market, walking under the moss-covered trees, they looked at me and said, "This feels like a movie set we'd want to live in." They bought the next month and they've never looked back. And if any of this is starting to sound like your kind of vibe, don't try to figure it all out on your own. My real estate team and I help people move here every week. And matching lifestyle to the neighborhood is literally what we do. Our info's in the description. Reach out anytime. We're here to help you find the version of Jacksonville that actually fits your life. If there's one thing Jacksonville does better than most cities, it's flexibility. This place lets you shift gears without changing zip codes. Laid back beach mornings, urban energy by night, and no one telling you it has to be done this way or the other. And when it comes to how the city comes alive, you won't find folks waiting around for the weekend. In Jacksonville, the calendar doesn't dictate the energy, the people do. You'll see it midweek, under the bridge at Riverside Arts Market. Live music is in the air, handmade candles next to fresh vegetables, someone playing jazz while kids dance barefoot on the concrete. It's weird, it's casual, and somehow feels like the city's heartbeat, is playing on a loop. A few weeks later, the same energy takes over downtown during the Jacksonville Jazz Festival. Multiple stages, people moving block to block, food trucks feeding thousands. In that moment, when the sun drops, you're standing in the middle of Bay Street thinking, okay, this is something. One spark flips the script. Half tech showcase, half art party, all local passion, street booths with inventors demoing things you didn't even know you needed, artists pitching live to the crowds, and an energy that feels like a mashed up TEDx and a food truck rodeo. You're not watching, you're actually part of it. And on Sundays, the city doesn't just cheer for the Jaguars. Jacksonville turns into a floating tailgate. Pontoon boats dock near the stadium, grill fires line up on the river, there's music, cold drinks, fans in teal yelling across the water. In the stadium, it's just in the backdrop. The party starts long before the kickoff, and you don't even need a ticket to feel part of it. What really sets Jacksonville apart, though, are the pop-ups, the surprises, a Sunset Beach concert you didn't plan on, a random night market in Murray Hill with vintage clothes, vinyl, and street tacos, fire pits on a brewery patio, glow yoga at the pier, the kind of stuff that makes you text a friend mid-moment like, you would have loved this. So yeah, you're looking for a city that moves, that hosts, that actually shows up at its own experiences. Jacksonville brings it. And whether that kind of community shows up, you better believe there's good food just a few steps away. Jacksonville doesn't chase trends when it comes to food. It leans into what works. Fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and spots with real personality. Start at the coast. Singleton's Fish Camp in Mayport feels like stepping into an old school fishing shack that somehow became iconic. The fried shrimp is crisp, the hush puppies are golden, and the smoked fish dip, that's a local rite of passage. Boats in the harbor, seagulls overhead, it's Florida without the filter. Roll inland a bit, and you hit the Metro Diner, a no-nonsense favorite where brunch means business. They serve cinnamon roll pancakes that might require backup, and a chicken and waffles that balance sweet, salty, and spicy like they've been doing it since birth. And that place is packed for a reason. For something with more polish, but no pretension, Biscotti's in Avondale holds its own. Rotating menus, legendary desserts, and a neighborhood feel that makes it an easy, regular spot, whether it's a Tuesday night or an anniversary dinner. Then of course there's Maple Street Biscuit Company. You walk in for a quick bite and leave telling 5 friends about the goat cheese and pepper jelly biscuit that changed your weekend plans. It's brunch with personality and a loyal following. Craving something handheld with a punch? A Ripa, please, in Riverside delivers tight flavors in every bite. Corn pockets packed with shredded beef, cheese, plantains, or all the above. The kitchen's small, the flavors aren't. For those of you with sweet tooth, Sweet Theory Baking Company brings the scratch-made, how is this vegan vibe that turns skeptics into regulars. They don't advertise much, but they don't need to. What makes Jacksonville's food scene different? It's not clustered, it's not polished, it's personal. The good stuff is spread across neighborhoods, hidden behind gas stations, tucked into corner plazas, or quietly thriving inside century-old buildings. And that matters. Generally great. Your life just works better because if your daily spots, the coffee, the takeout, the date night standby, are close by, you'll find where life actually lives. Jacksonville isn't a city you get from a map or a search bar. It's in the way a street smells after the rain or how your morning coffee tastes on a quiet porch. You might find yourself in Nocatee, where weekends are full of splash parks and food trucks and neighbors who really know your name. Or the rest of St. Johns County, where newer homes sit next to schools that don't just teach, they become communities. There, kids bike to the park while parents catch up over the fence. If you wander over to Riverside and Avondale, the pace slows. You'll notice the age in the trees and the stories in the homes. Places where the front porch isn't just decoration, it's a melting spot. A stage for life's small moments. Mandarin feels totally different. It's a breath of fresh air, literally, with huge oaks arching over streets lined with homes that have stood for generations. People here don't rush. They live with space around them. Down by the coast, Jack's Beach buzzes with energy. Surfboards stacked on racks, music floating from rooftops. Head a little further out to Atlantic or Neptune Beach and it's quieter. Coffee shops with slow mornings and regulars who remember your name. Palm Valley is where you can have that beachside feeling, and it's a little off the radar, but not by accident. Fleming Island and World Golf Village offer room to breathe, schools that deliver, and a place that suits folks who want space without the isolation. I once showed a house in Ortega to a Navy vet who expected ocean waves every morning. But when he saw the river from his porch, he felt the calm. He didn't hesitate. This city has many faces, but it's less about labels and more about how the place fits into your life. Find your neighborhood and everything else just lines up. And when you think you've settled, Jacksonville reminds you it's an outdoor city. You know how some cities act like outdoor stuff is an afterthought? Jacksonville's not one of them. Here, stepping outside is just like flipping a switch to your whole day. Some mornings, you'll catch locals stretching and strolling around on the St. John's Riverwalk. The water sparkling like it knows your name. There's a rhythm to it. People moving at their own pace. Kids chasing dogs, kayakers slipping in and out of the river like it's their second home. If you want trees and trails, Hanna Park isn't just a beach, it's a sanctuary where the air smells like salt and pine. And the path winds between dunes and wildflowers. You'll find families grilling, surfers waiting for the next wave, and hikers who know every nook and cranny. History buff, here's a gem. Fort Caroline isn't just a patch of woods. It's where you can walk beneath towering pines and imagine the past without the crowds. Great spot for a slow afternoon when you want your thoughts to wander. Looking for a little more adventure? Black Creek Trail offers a winding escape through forest and quiet wetlands. It's a peaceful spot where herons glide overhead and frogs fill the evening air with their chorus. Locals keep this place close. It's their hidden refuge and a well-kept secret. And if you want to get weird with nature, Big Talbot Island is pure magic. Driftwood sculptures shaped by the tide, twisted trees frozen in time, and the sandy beach that makes you wonder if you stumbled onto another planet. Jacksonville also knows how to throw a good party in the park. Riverside Arts Market brings farmers, crafters, musicians, and neighbors together every weekend. It's casual, lively, and exactly the kind of place where you feel like you belong without even trying. I remember showing a family from up north around the river one Saturday. Kayaking, grabbing tacos from a food truck, catching the live music. They didn't expect so much green, so much space, so much life packed into one city. By the end of the day, they looked at me and said, "This is the fresh start we needed." That's Jacksonville Outdoors. Not a thing to do on a list, more like the air you breathe every day. And yeah, the sun's out most days, but before you grab your gear and move in, there's one more thing you need to know about living here. Let's get real. Jacksonville isn't the under-the-radar deal it used to be. That doesn't mean you've missed your shot. Prices have gone up, sure, especially in the hot spots. But the range here is still wide. Ortega and Northside, you can stretch your budget further. Want new builds and top-rated schools? St. Johns County brings that suburban polish, but with the high sticker price to match. Now here's where people get tripped up, insurance and taxes. Florida's insurance market has gotten trickier in the last couple of years. And if you're close to water or in a flood zone, you'll feel it. Same goes for property taxes, which can sneak up on you depending on where you live and if you have CDD fees. Utilities? Pretty steady year-round. Summers spike the AC bill, winters will give you a break, grocery costs are what you make of them, Publix is the go-to, but Costco becomes your best friend if you've got a family or just love stocking up. So no, Jacksonville isn't cheap, but it's still one of the few Florida cities where lifestyle and cost can still play nice if you know where to look. That's exactly where we come in. This stuff's tricky, but we've helped hundreds of people make smart moves to Jacksonville, Florida. If you need help finding the best neighborhood for you and your family, reach out. Our info is right here on the screen and down in the description. And speaking of smart moves, let's talk about what really powers this city, the jobs. Because the opportunity here, it runs deeper than you think. The jobs that keep Jacksonville running, they're the backbone, diverse, stable, and surprisingly resilient. We're talking healthcare, logistics, and military. Work industries that don't just survive in a shaky economy, they drive it here. Big names like Mayo Clinic, University of Florida Health, and Baptist Health aren't just holding steady, they're expanding, adding wings, staff, and services. Jacksport? It's not just a shipping hub, it's a logistics powerhouse, feeding supply chains coast to coast. And Naval Air Station Jacksonville remains one of the region's largest and most dependable employers. Now this city's roots run deep and the branches are growing in new directions. Tech isn't taking over the skyline, but it's carving out of space, especially downtown where co-working spots and early stage startups are quietly laying down real foundations. And remote work, massive here. People are clocking in from the patios and local coffee shops, river views in the background, still cashing big market paychecks, but living on Jacksonville, Florida's terms. Thinking about turning that side hustle maybe into something more? Jacksonville gives you the space and the breathing room to build it without burning out. There's flexibility here, room to move, to test, to grow. You're not priced out before you even get started. Oh, and the no state income tax? That's not fluff. That's real money back in your pocket every month. And over time, that adds up. No, jobs here aren't handed out with a welcome packet, but if you show up, plug in, and bring the work ethic, there's opportunity here and plenty of it. And that brings us to the next thing people don't always plan for. Because whether you're commuting to a hospital in Southside or running Zoom calls from a condo near the coast, how you get around this massive city matters. Jacksonville's size throws people off. You look at the map, see the coastline, the river, the bridges, then you realize everything's spread out like a giant jigsaw puzzle. To really move through it, a car isn't optional, it's essential. Most days, traffic isn't soul-crushing, but it has its pockets. The Hart, the Buckman, 295 during the evening shift swap. There's a rhythm here. Locals learn it fast. Miss the rhythm, and you're adding 20 or more minutes to everything. Public transportation? Technically, we have it, but practically not so much. The Skyway's got its fans, I guess, but beyond that, you're working with limited routes and it's not very popular. But there are pockets that let you breathe. Riverside's walkable, San Marco's got charm on foot, and neighborhoods like Murray Hill and Avondale give you the cozy, walk to brunch kind of life. The city's making moves. Bike lanes here, water taxis there, but this isn't Portland. You're driving. That's the default. That's the lifestyle. So when you're choosing where to live, you're really choosing your daily loop. Work, school, coffee, gym. Keep it tight, keep it local, and suddenly this big city feels a whole lot smaller. One more thing you can't skip over, Jacksonville's weather. Yeah, the sunshine's great, but when hurricane season rolls in or your zip code's flagged for flood insurance, that's when the fine print hits hard. Jacksonville doesn't hide the heat. It hits you the second you step outside. Summers here are thick, not just hot, but humid in a way that even your sunglasses start sweating. And if you're moving from somewhere dry, brace yourself, August does not play fair. But the payoff? Winter's so smooth, they feel like a cheat code. While half the country's scraping ice off windshields, you're in shorts debating whether 68 degrees is really cold or not. Rain's a character in the city too. Not the gentle kind. We're talking Florida-style downpours that come in fast, loud, and sideways. Then vanish like they never happened. The trick? Always keep an umbrella in your car and never trust a sunny sky after 2 p.m. in July. Now to flood zones. This is where too many people get blindsided. That charming house near the marsh or the deal you spotted in a riverside neighborhood might look dreamy until your insurance quote shows up and doubles your monthly cost. This isn't fear, it's a fact. You've got to know the elevation, the drainage history, the zoning. Because flood insurance in Jacksonville isn't optional in certain spots. If you have a mortgage, it's mandatory, and it can be expensive. Hurricanes? They rarely take a direct shot at our city. But every few seasons, we get the warnings. The supply runs, the nervous energy, locals prep fast, gas lines form, batteries vanish, and someone always brings up the last big one. But once the summer haze fades, the summer trade-off starts to make sense. You'll catch yourself biking through Ortega under a sky so clear it feels like it was photoshopped, or spending a random Tuesday evening by the water in Avondale, realizing it's mid-November and you haven't touched a coat in months. It's not just mild, it's that rare mix of warm, breezy, and wide open that makes outdoor life stretch deep into the calendar. Still, weather's only part of the story, because no matter how beautiful the sky looks, moving here comes with a few surprises. Jacksonville's educational landscape isn't something you want to figure out after you've unpacked the moving boxes. It matters whether you're mapping out elementary school routes or trying to decide if the college scene feels right for your next chapter. Take public schools, for example. Duval County schools cast a wide net, and the experience can vary dramatically depending on your zone. Mandarin and Bartram Trail often come up in conversations for their consistency and strong ratings. Stanton and Paxson, those are academic magnets, competitive, high-achieving, and nationally ranked. But even with the stats, it's the vibe of the school and the neighborhood around it that helps families feel like, yeah, this is our place. Private and charter schools offer a different angle. Bowles brings the prestige, decades of tradition, college-ready programs, and a heavy sports legacy. Episcopalian leads towards a well-rounded, arts-focused experience. Then there's River City Science Academy, focused hard on STEM and quietly climbing the ranks for a reason. If higher education is on your radar, Jacksonville's got options that surprise a lot of people. University of North Florida, or UNF, delivers that classic college campus energy with trails, lakes, and strong programs in health and business. Jacksonville University has the smaller school feel, but it punches above its weight in marine science and nursing. And FSCJ, it's practical, flexible, and packed with adult learners who are balancing jobs, kids, and career pivots all at once. None of this is cookie cutter. You're not just picking schools, you're shaping what everyday life looks like. The smart move? Dig in early, get a feel for the options, and don't let the rankings be your only guide. All right, enough test scores and school zones. Let's shift gears into something a little more fun. The off-the-radar local gyms and inside tips that actually make Jacksonville feel like home. Not everything in Jacksonville makes it onto travel blogs, and honestly, that's part of the charm. Take Blue Jay Listening Room in Jax Beach. No TVs, no bar chatter, just an intimate space where singer-songwriters pull you into their stories and the music hits different. It's not for everyone, and that's exactly the point. Need a break from the city pace? Head north into Kingsley Plantation. It's quiet, powerful, and one of those places that stops you mid-thought. The live oaks drip with Spanish moss, and the history holds weight. It's not flashy, but it lingers. And for the kind of afternoon that feels like a reset button, walk the trails at Castaway Island Preserve. It's tucked between neighborhoods, but somehow feels like a hidden world. Boardwalks, marsh views, and a silence that reminds you you're still in Florida, just the best version of it. Now sometimes life calls for grease and comfort. Angie Subs? That's where you go when you want the bread to fight back a little and the sweet tea to hit like nostalgia. Loud, unapologetic, and delicious. No pretense, just sandwiches that slap. Prefer things sweet and simple? Motion Sweets in San Marco flies under the radar, but their cupcakes and mini cheesecakes, dangerous in the best way. And not every local tip is about food or views. Here's one. If you live anywhere near the river, keep a folding chair in your trunk. You'll thank me the next time there's a fireworks show, a sunset, or a random street musician who turns a sidewalk into a set list. That's what makes living in Jacksonville so different from just visiting. It's not about checking boxes. It's about discovering the places that just feel like yours, like the taco spot that just knows your order. Now I'm curious, what's your favorite local gem where you live? Or if you're already in Jacksonville, what's the one spot you think more people need to know about? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear it. Next up, let's zoom out for a real talk and breakdown on the highs, the lows, and stuff you won't find in a brochure. Because Jacksonville's got layers, and it's time we peeled them back. Living in Jacksonville isn't a one-size-fits-all experience, and that's what makes it powerful for the right person. You've got coastlines and creeks, historic bungalows, and master-planned suburbs with splash parks. There's space to breathe, neighborhoods that don't all look the same, and a cost of living that's still competitive for Florida. Nature isn't something you have to chase. It's part of your everyday life. Morning walks under the mossy oaks, weekend paddles through Black Creek, or impromptu sunsets at Big Talbot. It's all right here, built into the way people live. There's also something about the pace here. It's not slow, it's not sleepy, it's intentional. People make time for conversations, local shops greet you like a regular, even when it's your second visit, and there's a strong current of Southern hospitality tucked beneath the city's coastal edges. Of course, every city comes with trade-offs. Jacksonville's size can surprise you. It's spread out, and without a car, you'll feel that distance. Public transportation hasn't quite caught up, and certain routes during peak hours can test your patience. Storm season is a reality, especially if you're near the water, and while housing costs remain more forgiving than cities like Miami or Tampa, insurance and property taxes can shift fast depending on your zip code. There's no perfect place, but Jacksonville offers enough flexibility, affordability, and quality of life to make the balance worth it, if you know how to navigate it. So before you pack a box or click schedule a showing, let's arm you with a few final tips, some real-world resources that'll help your move go smoother, your setup feel faster, and your new life here start to feel like a win. Jacksonville can feel huge at first, but with a few insider moves, it starts to shrink in the best way. Download Jack's Ready for local alerts. COJ.net covers your city services, and if schools matter, Duval's school locator tool breaks it down fast. Tap into resources like Jack's Beach Locals or Riverside Avondale Preservation. Those conversations are where the real gems show up. DMV tip, avoid lunchtime, trust me. And yes, this is your reminder, get a public sub. It's practically a local rite of passage here. Look, you don't have to figure it all out solo. If you're feeling that pull towards Jacksonville and Northeast Florida and want help mapping out your next steps, my real estate team and I are here. Our info is on the screen and in the description. We want you to reach out to us so we can help you find that perfect next home. But before you go, if you are still in exploration mode, keep the momentum. Check out the playlist below for neighborhood breakdowns, real local insight, and a whole lot more of what life here actually feels like. Thanks again for hanging out, and I'll catch you on the next one.